How are you, gents? It's SBG here on this very hot Monday afternoon in Brisbane. I'm on the eastern side of Mount Gravatt because the western side is very hot and glary at the moment. I'm looking over part of the eastern suburbs of Brisbane, looking out toward Moreton Bay, and even though this is only 10 kilometres from the Brisbane CBD, we have all this parkland and eucalypt forest here. It's really beautiful, and in summer on the eastern side of the mountain it's very nice, a lot cooler, nice breezes, so I like to come up here. And it's not officially summer yet, but today's very hot, 31 degrees centigrade. Just panning around a bit, you can see there are some houses very close by to the mountain. Mount Gravatt's actually a very busy suburb, very built up in the southeastern part of Brisbane. Just because it's hot today does not mean that is a sign of global warming. Whenever we have a hot day, people come out and say, oh, it's global warming, the climate's changing. But it's been hot for a long time. There have been hot periods, cold periods. In the 1930s, in many parts of the world, it was much hotter than it is now. And in fact, there were worse cyclones, hurricanes, typhoons, whatever you want to call them. They're all the same thing. There were a lot worse storms. Some of the worst weather and storms in Brisbane were in the 70s and 80s. And I remember some of those quite well. At the moment, you might have noticed we have this climate strike business that's been going on. Last Friday, September 20, a lot of school kids and other people too left work, didn't go to school, didn't go to work, and went to the climate strike protests in the Brisbane CBD and in Sydney and in some parts of the USA and England, I think, also. I feel it's really sad that a lot of these young children, even primary school kids, have been brainwashed by this global warming propaganda. And at least there are quite a few scientists coming out now trying to refute this so-called global warming evidence. People like Valentina Zarkova, John L. Casey, the solar scientist, several NASA scientists like David Hathaway, Martin Molensak have come out, spoken out against global warming. And in mid-2018, Martin Molensak made an announcement saying that the Earth's atmosphere, its upper atmosphere, the thermosphere, is actually cooling. And this cooling trend was detected by NASA's SABRE satellite last year. And the Earth's thermosphere is actually rapidly cooling, and this could cause big problems for the Earth. And even in July this year, in parts of Europe and the USA, there was record snowfall in summer. Even recently, here in Australia, last week, in fact, September 17, around near the Blue Mountains, the Katoomba, Lithgow area, there was quite heavy snowfall, even at low altitude. Katoomba had quite a lot of snow and some other surrounding areas. And even here in Queensland, in Stanthorpe in June this year, and also in August, we had snow. So 20 years ago, there were people saying it will never snow again in Australia. That's turned out to be absolute total BS. The same in Europe and the USA. So there really needs to be a challenge to this global warming hysteria and propaganda that's being propagated and disseminated all over the world by people with an agenda. Often it's just to make money. So as far as I'm concerned, the two biggest scams on this planet at the current time are marriage and climate change, global warming. Of course, the climate has always been changing. It has been changing for thousands and millions of years. It's just a natural process, a natural phenomenon, and it will continue well into the future. I'm not saying that pollution is not a problem. It's a big problem. The same with land clearing. And I think some areas have been heavily deforested, and we need to start planting more trees in those areas, like millions of trees actually. And but carbon dioxide is not the problem. The sun defines the climate, not CO2. And very, very few people in the mainstream media are talking about this. There's a few people like David Devine with his Adapt 2030 channel, the Mini Ice Age Conversations. I've heard Alan Jones here in Australia talk about it on his radio show, and he has 2 million listeners every morning in Sydney, Brisbane and regional areas on the east coast of Australia. So some people are speaking out, but it still will take a while for the message to get through. We're only hearing one side of the story. And if people want to protest, that's fine, it's their democratic right. But I think we also need to hear the dissenters who have different evidence and a different opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening as usual. I do try to read all the comments and reply to them. If I've missed out replying to your comment, I'll try and reply as soon as possible. I like to hear your feedback, and I also like to respond to your comments. Anyway, gents, thanks very much for your time, for watching and listening, and hopefully I can speak to you again soon. Bye for now.